Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Elden Ring. This time I'm going to show you how to find and defeat Mohg, Lord of Blood. Just a heads up, there are a couple items that you want to bring into this boss fight, so I'm going to show you how to get those, and they will make the fight extremely manageable, especially for the first phase and the phase transition, completely negating the damage you would normally take between phases. Additionally, I'm going to show you how to reach the boss, and that will require the two halves of the Haligtree Secret Medallion. I'll show you where each of them are and how to use it. This guide, however, assumes that you have gone through Leyndell capital city because it's not reachable until you do that. You can't find the second half of the Haligtree Medallion. You can't even use the Haligtree Secret Medallion unless you've gone through Leyndell. So, do not even bother watching this until you do that. Just come back later. The two items that I'm referring to are the Purifying Crystal Tear, which you receive at the end of Yura, Hunter of Bloody Fingers' questline. You can mix that into your Flask of Wondrous Physic, and it purifies the Lord of Blood's curse as long as you drink it. So, I'm going to show you how to get that, and then I'm also going to show you how to get an item called Mohg's Shackle, which allows you to bind the boss to the ground, making it so you can do incredible amounts of damage during phase 1 of the fight, basically for free. And if you use it efficiently, then you'll be able to drop the boss well below 50% HP before he even gets to start transitioning into phase 2. So if you use Mohg's Shackle efficiently, and then use the Flask of Wondrous Physic with the Purifying Crystal Tear, you will take barely any damage at all during the phase transition. You'll negate a lot of the damage that he would be recovering from, a lot of the health that he would recover during that phase transition, and you can enter phase 2 at a reasonable amount of health remaining on the boss. That said, if you already have the Purifying Crystal Tear and Mohg's Shackle, great. Create the Flask of Wondrous Physic with it, bring the Shackle into the fight, and check the timestamps in the description below for the boss fight strategy for Mohg, Lord of Blood. For everyone else, let's begin with Yura, Hunter of Bloody Fingers questline. The questline for Yura involves him helping you with a Bloody Finger invasion of your own. Then you help him in an invasion that he has actually initiated by the looks of it. And then the third and final invasion happens with the woman that he has been searching for. And once you defeat her, you will then receive the Purifying Crystal Tear. The first invasion occurs in the river that stems off of Agheel Lake in Limgrave very early on in the game. You can do this immediately after you start the game. You don't even need to meet Yura in the first place. However, since we're covering a questline here in this video, I'm going to show you an easily forgotten and easily missed location that Yura actually starts off in the game. Again, this is just outside of Agheel Lake, underneath a big ruin, and if you speak with him here before the first invasion, he will give you a little bit more dialogue.
Ah, you must be the new Tarnished. You do well to steer clear of Agheel Lake, fledgling. The dragon roosts there, and it's as fearsome as it is majestic. So, unless you're mad, or wish to be burned alive, stay clear of the lake. Don't be a fool. Turn back before it's too late.
Once you're ready, you want to head through Agheel Lake, avoiding Flying Dragon Agheel if you have not already defeated her. Then, once you head up the river, you will eventually automatically be dismounted, and then the invasion will occur. What you can do, since you're probably very low level while this is happening, you can just wait, and Yura will automatically get summoned into your world, have a little bit of dialogue, and then he will help you kill Bloody Finger Nerijus. And then once Nerijus dies, you can head up the river a little bit further, underneath yet another giant ruin, and speak with Yura once more.
Ah, we meet again. To have fought Nerijus and lived. You must have seen your share of battle. I am Yura, as you might recall. Hunter of Bloody Fingers, tarnished, held in thrall by cessblood. Zealots, who stalk their own. You stay the path. You're certain to face more of them. Just remember, no kinship with their ilk remains. Their madness precludes it. Don't let your emotions stay your blade. Be on your way. Perhaps we will meet again, if fate permits.
As you progress through the game and make your way to Liurnia of the Lakes, you will eventually find a key that gives you access to the main Academy gate for the Academy of Raylucaria. Once here, you want to walk through the rune that is guarding the gate on the north side of the bridge, and then eventually along this path, you will see a red invasion summon sign. You want to summon yourself into Yura's world and help him defeat the Ravenmount assassin that he is attempting to kill. I find this very interesting because he is constantly going on about the Bloody Fingers and how they are part of a cessblood and that hopefully the end is nigh for them, yet you seem to be helping him in an invasion of somebody just going about their business. Maybe this is just the way they made it work for gameplay, but story-wise, it felt a little strange to me. Once you defeat the Ravenmount assassin, you want to go back into your world automatically and then find Yura on the north side of the bridge and speak with him once more and learn a little bit about Eleanora.
Oh, it's you. Thanks for your help there. That bloody finger was a thorn in my side. And now I'm finally rid of him. Here's a token of thanks. Please, take it. I may not have much time. I'm dying to see you. Eleanora. Violet Bloody Finger. Yes, I've been tracking Eleanora for quite some time. She is the deadliest of all Bloody Fingers. She's felled many an old hand already, but in spite of her cessblood zealotry, Eleanora is a proud knight. If she comes for you, do not think twice. You must flee. There is no shame in self-preservation. Be on your way. Perhaps we will meet again, if fate permits.
Once you're finished adventuring in Liurnia of the Lakes, you want to next head to Altus Plateau, which houses Leyndell capital city. It's a beautiful region. Once here, you want to find the Second Church of Marika, and inside of the crumbling church, you will find Yura dying on the ground.
Eleanora. It seems I am no match for you, but I've learned a thing or two myself. You see, I've sliced the finger off. Please. Please. Eleanora. Yield to the cessblood no longer. Do not stain the immaculacy of your sword. Your flesh. Your fire.
Once you defeat Eleanora, you will then receive the item we've been searching for, the Purifying Crystal Tear. And now Yura's questline is over. However, something does happen with his body later on in the game, but we will cover that in another guide. I'll leave the mystery for now. For Mohg's Shackle, we're going to begin at the Avenue Balcony site of Grace in Leyndell capital city. I'm assuming that you have access to this already. If you do not, then I recommend just adventuring through the city. You'll eventually come across it, and then we can start from there. Again, I know that some changes do occur late game to the city, so maybe this point of grace is not accessible. I have no idea, but you may need to make an adjustment if necessary. Okay, from Avenue Balcony, we are going to take the following route. We're going to ignore the archer and there will actually be another archer right here. Ow. It's actually not an archer, it's a swordsman. And he has lightning, so you do have to roll to avoid getting struck by that. Okay, and now in this area, in this little decrepit town, we are looking for a well to jump into. So you want to follow this route. Wow, they're still trying to snipe me. That's impressive. All right, so follow this route. And then the well in question is right here. Watch out for the Albinauric. Great. So you can drop down, open this door. You do not need a key. And then you can drop down here. I recommend turning on a lamp just to help yourself out. Come through this passageway. And welcome to the Subterranean Shunning-Grounds. These rats will leave you alone for the most part. So you can just run past them, or you can kill them. They always have a chance of dropping a rune arc. I'm going to show you how to get to the Site of Grace, which is extremely important in this place because the enemies are very deadly. So we're going to rest here. And this is the underground roadside Site of Grace. I'm going to assume that you can go through this area on your own. I know I need to make a walkthrough. I've gotten it requested a ton because this area is a little confusing. But you only actually need to adventure through this area and open up the first shortcut. That's where we're going to start. So we're going to go there now. So from the Site of Grace, we're just going to run. And then the first shortcut allows you to open this portcullis right here. So we're going to run. We're going to ignore these folks, these fell twins here. And then we're going to come down here. There is going to be a gargoyle, oh boy, waiting for you. Oh, 4 hits, okay. And then we're going to drop down a couple pipes. So we're going to go here, drop here, and then you need to go all the way to the bottom, and then drop here in order to survive. All right, you'll notice a really big crayfish in the distance there. Or maybe it's a prawn. I guess it's a giant prawn. Okay, and then there's this guy here as well. He comes out. He's trying to say hello. But we can actually back in here. I'm just holding up my shield. We can back in here and find another Site of Grace. This is a completely separate dungeon. It's like a mini dungeon called Leyndell Catacombs. If you go through here and you need help, it is a maze. I will link a guide for it in the description below. All right, from here, we can do this a lot safer. There will be a corpse in the far corner over here, right in the back, not even in the corner, just against this back wall, and that corpse will have Mohg's Shackle. The final requirement to find Mohg is to obtain both halves of the Haligtree Secret Medallion. The first part of this medallion is available in Liurnia of the Lakes in the village of the Albinaurics. This village can be located in the southwest portion of Liurnia of the Lakes along the cliff face. Keep in mind that you cannot reach the top of this cliff even though you can see it. You cannot reach it until much later in the game, so don't try to find a path from the village. It doesn't exist. You get to it another way. Eventually, you will come across the village of Albinaurics Site of Grace. You can rest there, and then head up the hill one more time. There will be a perfumer playing a flute that sounds quite lovely. You're able to sneak past it, or you can fight it. I recommend fighting it just so it doesn't bother you while you're speaking to this next NPC. But along the cliff face, you will find a suspicious-looking pot.
Please, no! Dear me. I haven't a clue. No secrets lie with me, not a one. Oh, please leave me be. Wait then. You're not one of them? Well, what a relief. Oh, goodness me. I am Albus, an Albinauric. As you can see, we're finished. The whole village is finished. The cursemongers have destroyed everything. No one that remains has their wits about them. I beg you. Would you look after this medallion? You must keep it out of the cursemongers' hands. And if you should meet the young Albinauric Latenna, then please give it to her. A chosen land awaits us, Albinaurics. The medallion is the key that leads to the city. It's only a quaint treasure for we who cannot make the journey. But for dear Latenna, it is needed to fulfill her purpose. My legs will soon fade, and with them my life. Alas, this is the immovable fate of all Albinaurics.
There is an additional bit of side questing that you can do with respect to this medallion. However, it's unnecessary. So I'm going to cut it out, but if you'd like, you can go speak with Gideon the All-Knowing back in Round Table Hold, and he'll give you a hint as to where the next half may be, or someone who knows where it would be, and that is Latenna, the person that Albus spoke of. For now, though, since that's not necessary, we can proceed to the Mountaintops of the Giants. If, for whatever reason, you do not have access to this area, you first need to defeat the final boss of Leyndell Capital City, and then you'll be able to exit out of a side street exit and get to a new area called the Forbidden Lands. Proceed through the Forbidden Lands, it's very short. At the end, you'll fight a boss, Blackblade Kindred, and then you'll be able to use the Grand Lift of Rold to go up to the mountains. Once here, you want to proceed all the way through the main path until you reach the Frozen Lake. Then you want to go past the Frozen Lake, through a graveyard, down a hill, defeat a Tibia Mariner and a Deathrite Bird, and then you will be at the entrance to Castle Sol. Castle Sol is a very difficult mini-dungeon with a very difficult final boss. There's only one boss here, Commander Niall. He's very tough. If you need any help getting through this dungeon, I have a full walkthrough available on my channel. I've linked that in the description. If you only need help for the boss, you can either watch that and just skip to the end for the boss fight, or you can watch my boss-only guide, which I have also linked in the description. But once Commander Niall is defeated, you can proceed to the roof of the castle and receive the other half of the Haligtree Secret Medallion. With both halves in tow, you want to go back to the Grand Lift of Rold from the Forbidden Lands end, and then you will have a new prompt allowing you to hoist the Secret Medallion, and then this will bring you to the hidden passage to the Haligtree. This is a brand new area, a big part of the mountains, and this is where the next step to find Mohg begins. It's very short, but you need to gain access to this area in order to even do it. Once you've made it out of the Consecrated snowfield by following the lights, you want to head to the western section of the map, and we are going to use a hidden portal that is tucked underneath a little mountain ridge. You do not need to do anything special to use this. It will be open and available to you as soon as you find it. It is covered in blood, which should give you a pretty big hint of where we're going. So you spawn into a very dark cave, and then you want to light a torch or put your lantern on, and you come out at Mohgwyn Palace. If you look on your map while you're here, you will notice that this is the final part of Shackle River that had not yet been discovered. So once you get here and once you get the map, which I'll show you how to get in a bit, you will now have the entire Shackle River area covered on your map, and the name will finally appear on the banner. Once you reach the first site of grace, you can follow along the path that I'm showing you now. This will bring you to the Mausoleum compound, and that is the dungeon itself. It's very short. There's only one path through it. There's a lot of really good treasure inside, including some final smithing stones that you need to get your weapons to plus 25. It's a really, really lucrative dungeon, so I highly recommend coming here even if you don't want to fight Mohg right away. Just still come here, loot everything, and then you can level up your weapons. You want to follow this path through this area very specifically because there are these red Albinauric enemies here that can summon big skeletons very similar to Tibia Mariners, and there are 3 of them in that area, and the big skeletons coalesce on top of each other and deal massive amounts of damage. On this corpse here will be the map, so be sure to pick that up. But this is the Mohgwyn Dynasty Mausoleum compound, and then you can rest at this site of grace, head up the stairs, and then after a little bit of adventuring and a few difficult enemies, you will be able to finally fight Mohg, Lord of Blood. Before you start the fight, ensure that you have mixed your wondrous physic flask with the Purifying Crystal Tear that you got from Yura's questline. And once you're ready, proceed through the fog. Phase 1 is pretty hectic, but with more practice, you should be able to get through this somewhat unscathed. You want to make sure that you have as many flasks as possible for Phase 2, because Phase 2 gets nuts. That first ability you saw there, which is Blood Flame Claw, the boss can do that in two ways. He can either do it with a backhand or a forehand. The backhand is quicker, and when you roll through it, the boss is going to do one of two attacks. He's either going to do a Trident Charge, which you need to roll for almost immediately again, or with the forehand attack, he can do a swing, and if you start attacking with a regular longsword before he starts that swing, you can actually get underneath him. So you saw there, that's the backhand Blood Flame Claw. He follows it up with a Trident Charge almost every single time. You just roll again for that. When the boss goes to stab his Trident down, you need to do a really good job studying that ability specifically, because in Phase 2, that can one-shot you if you're not careful. So again, backhand Blood Flame Claw into a Trident Charge. It happens almost every single time. Throughout Phase 1, the boss will put blood curse marks on you through very obvious telegraphs. When you get to a second one, that's when you want to use Mohg Shackle the first time. However, you want to be very careful. Do not drop the boss below 50% HP or get him even close to it with the first Shackle. Reason being because you want to drop him below 50% HP, and then during the transition, drink your flask right away, and then just start laying into him. You want to do as much damage as possible to him as he's refilling his health. This way, you enter Phase 2 with the boss at less than 75% health, and you're off to a much better start than you would be otherwise. So during this phase, the boss can do basically every ability he has will spread blood flame. You have to be very, very careful, and some of his moves are extended, so we'll go over those as well. You want to pay very close attention to the boss's hand that is holding the trident, because when the hand moves, that's when the attack is coming. He has very long, sweeping strikes, and it's very important that you don't roll too early. At the start of Phase 2, you want to use a rune arc and activate your Great Rune to get more stats. This is very, very important. When the boss stabs his trident down into the ground, even if you are not struck by it, in Phase 1, you can just roll behind him, start dealing damage, but in Phase 2, it becomes somewhat of like a volcano geyser, so you need to get away from the boss. You can roll through that explosion, but it's difficult and it's not worth it. For this phase, you just want to take it very, very easy. Occasionally, when the boss does his overhead slam of the trident, if you're near the sides and any grave markers are still around, it can get stuck, being a little bit of a lucky sort of thing, and that allows you to get a lot more damage. In Phase 2, you really want to get good at rolling through the Blood Flame Claw. The reason for that is because as Phase 2 goes on, if you are far away from the boss, he will spread a lot of blood flame on the ground that you will have to walk through. Blood flame ticks your health very, very quickly, and you do not want to have to deal with it. So you want to stay close to the boss as often as possible. When the boss flies up and throws the blood flame, you want to roll through it and then walk towards the boss and roll through the boss as he flies overhead. You want to let him land on the other side of you, because that will make it so he throws another blood flame that you can roll through. By the time you roll through that one, the one that was thrown from the trident while he was flying will have dissipated, and you can proceed to attack the boss again. Every single piece of blood flame that the boss is putting down on the ground can be managed. However, if you feel like it's getting a little out of control, you can just back up to the other half of the arena where it's all clean for the most part. The blood flame can go a long way. but where it's clean for the most part. And then that is when you want to start the pattern up again. As you can see here, the boss can do a scoop. That spreads blood flame, and then he will sort of land on his feet, exposed for some attacks. As you saw there, he did the forehand blood flame claw. I started attacking after the roll. The trident went right over my head. Nothing to worry about. You have to be very careful when the boss lands. He has about a 50-50 shot of digging the trident into the ground. If that happens, it's going to be a volcano geyser. You need to get away. You saw there, I successfully rolled through it. I didn't want to rush in because my stamina is now getting very low, and so I'm going to do my best to try to reset it. I'm not going to go too far into the boss, and I'm not going to overextend myself here. When your stamina is running low, this is a trick that you can bring out with you throughout the rest of this game and every Souls game in existence. You regenerate stamina faster when your shield is lowered. So if your shield is held up, you're regenerating stamina very, very slowly. So if you have some space and the boss isn't doing anything, lower your shield, let your stamina regenerate faster. Even if it means you're going to pick it up a second later, that can be the difference between running out of stamina, getting guard broken, and getting killed versus just getting one more roll in, surviving, and being able to reset. That is Mohg, Lord of Blood. There is a lot going on in this fight. Cannot stress that enough. So much, in fact, that I'm going to go through this again and explain more of his moves. Okay, starting off again, we're going to take this a little bit more slowly. In Phase 1, I practiced this so many times because it took me probably an hour and a half to kill him that I got through it very quickly. But his trident swings are very deliberate. So he starts off with a backhand, Blood Flame Claw into Trident Charge. He puts the staff down, forehand Blood Flame Claw, start attacking. Because now I am lower because I'm attacking, the Trident just goes over my head. We're going to roll through that one, and then you got to pay close attention to the tip of the Trident because it's going to slam into the ground. You got to roll past the slam, and then you can attack. Only in Phase 1, though. In Phase 2, you got to get away from that. Okay, so he's doing 1 swing, 2 swing, 3 swing. Sometimes the 4th swing can come, and it is the trident being plunged into the ground. That is very difficult to see happen in the 4th swing, but it is telegraphed. The 4th swing, if it's happening, the trident will be on the ground, not in the air. If the trident is on the ground after the 3rd swing of that combo, this one right here, if the trident is on the ground, he's going to plunge it. It's a different attack. It looks the same, but it is different if you pay close attention. Okay, so he's putting the marks on me now. For those, you can literally just get behind him by walking around him and attack him while it's happening. Then, all you got to do is use Mohg's Shackle, bring him to the ground. Be careful not to drop him below 50% HP for the first one, because you want as much damage as humanly possible for the 3rd. Once the music has changed, that means that Phase 2 is happening. So you need to drink that flask, as long as it has the proper mix. That will negate basically all the damage here, except for some small explosion damage, nothing to worry about. And you want to stay behind the boss during the transition. The reason being is because he does a big sweep attack with the trident, but if you're behind him, it doesn't hit you. So just stay behind the boss during the transition. Very, very important. So this 2 swing, 3 swing combo, the first 2 swings have different tells. The first one is quick, very easy to roll through. The second one is delayed. He starts with the trident above his head and then brings it level with him and then swings it. We'll see it again in a little bit, but it is different. You just got to pay close attention to his hands. Whenever he takes a shower in Blood Flame, you just want to get away from him. You do not want to get 1 or 2 hits in because you're going to get ticking Blood Flame. You're going to be close to him, and he typically does follow-up attacks if you're close after the Blood Flame shower. So you want to do your best to get away. What I'm trying to do here is reset myself as best as possible. This way I can use a rune arc. I forgot to put it on my quick bar, and I'm paying the price very dearly for it now. When he throws Blood Flame in an arc, you can roll through it. When he throws it directly at you, you need to roll to the side. Very important difference. Arc, roll through it. Straight on, roll to the side. Okay, so these flying attacks are a little difficult to tell the differences of. However, when he's going to do a ground pound, a butt stomp, he's going to flutter in the air one extra time. Otherwise, he's just coming down with it. And then it's a 50-50 of whether it's going to hit vertically or he's going to dig it into the ground. Just pay close attention. You have plenty of time to react. Arc, Blood Flame, roll through. This is the flutter into a ground pound. He slams it in. That's what you got to watch out for. Forehand Blood Flame Claw into a sweep. However, that is phase 2, so it's a little bit different. When he throws that arc of Blood Flame from the sky, you want to roll through it and then just watch the boss pass over you. And then he's going to throw another arc of Blood Flame. All you got to do for that is roll through it, and you'll be able to attack just fine. Okay, so we roll through it, boss passes over, and then he's going to throw more Blood Flame. The first one dissipates, we're good to go. So he arcs it again. I'm just trying to manage as best as I can here. It is getting a little hectic in my opinion, but we're doing what we can. Okay, so he digs it in, we pull it out. Had I dodged that, that would have had a follow-up sweep strike again, so just watch out for those. But basically every single attack he does with the trident has Blood Flame coming off of it. It's really difficult to manage all of this, so don't be afraid to just take it slow in phase 2 and do your best to slow the fight down by going somewhere else. I know that's much easier said than done, but it's really important that you do your best to control what you can, and you can almost always control your own position. So, again, with the flutter twice, that means he's going to dig it in. I'm realizing that now. Flutter twice is always a dig in. Easy enough to tell. Okay, so yep, flutter, dig in. We dodged that. Great job. And then this is just an overhead because he does not flutter. Perfect. So there's the tell for that. We figured that out together here. Backhand, Blood Flame Claw. We just roll right through it. No follow-up from him. He's going to take a shower, so we're going to back up. We're just trying to follow him, wait for him to do something. He starts off with a charge. You can sometimes get clipped by that, but you'll be okay. As long as you sort of like understand that that's what just happened, you're going to be fine. All right, a few more hits, and he goes down. He's going to throw another Blood Flame arc, fly over us. You see the Blood Flame is now dissipating. He throws one straight on. I accidentally roll forward, get a little clipped by it. Not the end of the world. Big Blood Flame Claw. Last few hits, Mohg goes down. That's the fight. It is very difficult, very, very hectic, but I believe in you. This was a really frustrating fight for me to learn because you have so little opportunity to just tank hits and figure it out. It is a lot of death and a lot of trials and tribulations. Luckily, the Stake of Marika is literally in front of the boss fog, so you can retry within a matter of seconds. It's nice in that way, but it can be frustrating. I hope this guide has been helpful to you. It is a very difficult, very optional boss. He shows up again, or whether or not you did it previously, I did. This is actually my second time fighting him. He shows up again in the Subterranean Shunning-Grounds where we found the Shackle. He is the boss of that dungeon. Not of Leyndell Catacombs, but of the Subterranean Shunning-Grounds itself. That fight is just the first phase for a full health bar. But I have a theory that because he is part of the Omen, just like Margit, and at this point I'm not spoiling anything, you had to have done this, but Margit may or may not be Morgott, and because they are both Omens, their shackles work on each other. So Margit's shackle, which you buy from patches in the beginning of the game, works on Margit as well as Morgott. Mohg's shackle works on both Mohg the Omen and Mohg Lord of Blood. Very interesting. I'm not sure what the lore implications of these guys are, but I'm extremely curious. This is the first time for Elden Ring that I've done a questline inclusion for a boss. Reason I did that is because it takes a lot to get to this boss. There's a lot of secret stuff you got to do, very long quest chains, and in my opinion, I try to sort of like summarize quests as they're happening, but as I kept putting the steps into this video, I realized this quest is super long. I may as well just leave the dialogue in. I am curious what you think of that. If you'd rather just have a quick summary, you know, like a 30... It's hard to even summarize this in 30 seconds. But let me know if you like that style where I play out the dialogue. I show you 90% of the steps. I know I did skip the Latenna part, but that is extremely optional. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this style of guide. It is very long, but I think it offers a full picture of this boss fight, what goes into it, how to find it, and how to take him down. But that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Elden Ring, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links for those are in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.